Thank you, Speaker and sponsor. Adding penalties, and I haven't seen or heard any articulation of where increasing things to felonies actually has a material impact on people's propensity to commit a crime or actually help in their rehabilitation that should be happening during their period of incarceration. This fueling of the carceral state by increasing the amount of misdemeanors, increasing the amount of felonies, funding prisons in perpetuity in hopes that it serves as a deterrent does not work, has not worked. There have been federal attempts at this with three strikes rules. We got a lot of state laws that are increasing penalties left and right. But the ramifications of those decisions are not leaving to us having better, more educated, more equipped, more successful people after they've served their time. This is not a solution to the problems that we need to address as it relates to people who are part of the carceral state. This is propagating and supporting it. And so the prison industrial complex and its supporters and its advocates persist with legislation like this without ever dealing with the root causes of what caused someone to be a part of the criminal legal system in the first place. And then secondly, what can we do while they are incarcerated to actually make sure that if and when they are released, they become productive members of society? Just adding things up to say, now this is a felony, this is more severe, this is more severe, that is more severe, is not going to be a solution. We continue, at least from what I have seen, increasing things to felonies, making it and saying this is going to be a deterrence, but that's just not the truth. We have not seen that work. Our carceral state continues to explode and increase. And so if that was the truth, we would be seeing that decrease instead. And so this is why this legislation and other pieces like it that are coming up, I cannot support. And I hope that we become much more critical about funding the prison industrial complex with our tax dollars and instead do more to prevent people from going to prison in the first place. And if they are incarcerated, doing and providing resources that they might actually be and become better people during that time and afterwards. Thank you, Speaker and sponsor.
Leader Lamberth.
I wish you'd look at some of the studies and the work that Rafael Manguel has done. It's fantastic because the recidivism rate on those that are incarcerated is virtually 0%. So when you incarcerate an individual for a violent crime particularly, they don't hurt anybody else out in the community. It's amazing how many lives are saved, how many homes are not broken into, how many stores are not robbed, how many people are not raped. When the rapist, the murderer, the robber, the burglar is incarcerated. So I've seen some of those same studies you're talking about, and they follow people after they've been released from prison. I join you in wanting to make sure that we actually get the services to the people that are incarcerated, because I don't want them to come back in. But unfortunately, more than half come back to prison after being released within 3 years. That's unconscionable, but again, the recidivism rate on those that are incarcerated is virtually 0%. We're here to protect all Tennesseans. I want to make sure, again, that those incarcerated get services, but our first responsibility is to everybody else to make sure that they're safe in their home, their business, their school, walking to and from each one. To me, if I have to pick between the two, I'm going to pick the people that are not incarcerated and keep them safe first, and then we're going to start working on those that are incarcerated.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you. And see, that's where we differ. Because I believe everybody who is a citizen of Tennessee, everybody who is in the care of the state is my responsibility, including those who are incarcerated, those who have made mistakes, those who are incarcerated unjustly and unfairly. See, I don't have a tiered system, unlike you, sponsor, of who gets prioritization, because I realize that the people who are incarcerated, they were people who were not. And when they were not incarcerated, did the state do everything that it was supposed to do to create the appropriate and proper conditions to care for them? Did we do all that we could economically and socially to make our state a good and a safe place for them to be productive? Those are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. And it is not about having a system that says, I'm going to prioritize these people, then those people. Because you know what? The state also gets it wrong. And innocent people are in jail and are incarcerated too. And so I disagree with several of your premises. I ask my colleagues that we do more to prevent people from going to prison in the first place, and that we stop pretending this is a solution.
Lear Lamberth.
You know what the number one factor to keep somebody from going to prison would be? Choosing not to commit a felony. It's pretty easy. There's a whole list of them in the green books in the back of the room. If an individual chooses not to commit those crimes, there's no chance that they go to prison. And so, yes, I am absolutely going to differ with you, and I'm going to prioritize those Tennesseans that have not chosen to commit felonies, and we're going to do everything we can to protect those folks, while at the same time providing services and resources and a segue for anybody who has chosen to do that. But it comes down to individual responsibility, not groupthink or group fault, but an individual's choice to commit those crimes. I know that's uncomfortable to say to you, but it is absolutely true.